Of course, you guys know this is Crypto Chaos. And for some of the viewers that will be coming over from the Duran after the show, we welcome you as well, as they're just probably winding up their show here in a few minutes. Just saying a special hello to both Alex and Alexander over there at the Duran. They have Brian Breletic on, so that must be quite a interesting conversation there. Time check here is 9:16 in China, Beijing time. I hope that everyone else is having a great day wherever you are. We are seeing a lot of chaos here on the crypto market. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had an interesting altercation on one of our live streams, and I got into quite a bit of a discussion about the crypto market. And I think it's imperative and important that people understand that this market is about to come unraveled. And just before I got on the program today, I did also receive some information that is quite disturbing about another major player on the exchange. I will share that throughout the show. Just want to say a special hello to the Quantum. Thank you very much. Anton, thanks for joining us tonight. France, Lauren, thank you. Zhu Lian, I always struggle with that name. And of course, AJ's audience, the PTE, we have both of his channels connected there. What a great day it is. Without further ado, though, I'm going to bring on one of the guys that you've been waiting for. Of course, you've been waiting for him is AJ. AJ, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, good morning, Alex. Good morning, everyone. Good to be here. Good to be here. Yeah, there is a Duran going on at this very moment in time, but yeah, they should be finishing off soon. My greeting goes to Brian and Alex and Alexander. Great show as always, probably as at the Duran. Great audience as well, and we have a great audience here, even better, I would say. Yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks, Alex, and I remember when you were, basically arguing with some guy a few weeks ago about crypto, and it's absolutely, I don't know if you had a crystal ball in front of you, but you were absolutely spot on, basically, with your predictions, and everything you said came true. And I believe the other guy was saying things like, "Oh, the FTX is never going to collapse," and things like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of actually cutting that excerpt off and putting it onto into the video as well.
I think so. I'm going to add to that, and thank you, AJ, for bringing that up. There's a serious tone to this live stream tonight. We did put the Crypto Collapse, but I want to notify you, the viewers, of something that maybe you guys aren't aware of and how this whole crypto thing has played out. And AJ will definitely back me up on this. Now, there's nothing wrong with producing, interesting, let's call it IT, or let's call it intellectual property, or let's call it innovation. Innovation. Let's hold that word in suspense for a moment. Innovation. The way the crypto market was brought into us, I will call it my generation, was simply fear of missing out. Okay, you don't want to miss out. You got to get in on it. And the ones that got in on it in an early stage, the Bitcoin I'm talking about, have done quite well. But that's not to say that comes with caveats. Now, it depends. You can buy the Bitcoin, but then let's say you started trading it on the exchange, and that's where most of this money that is being lost is on these exchanges. Okay. And let me just roll back and try to give you guys, the viewers, what has really happened here in the last, I'll call it 5 years. Okay. Because it's been a remarkable rise. The marketing and promotion of coins. Let me give you an idea. Okay. Bitcoin, we all understand Bitcoin. Okay, buy and sell Bitcoin, we get it. But then there's these alternative coins. Now, when you're talking about people exchanging coins, where do they do it? They do it on an exchange. All right. So if we're going to buy and sell a stock, we do it on a trading platform, maybe like Citibank or Charles Schwab or Robinhood, for an example, right? And you buy and you sell. And these securities or options or derivatives are either monitored by the Security Exchange Commission, If there's criminal activity, it can either be by civil penalties or by, of course, the Department of Justice fines and jail terms. Okay, so most of these companies, or I would say all of them, are regulated on the Security and Exchange Commission if they're trading on the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, even international. There's a PCAOB accounting firm that needs to follow the rules and regulations. That means quarterly reports, annual reports, board meetings. Pretty much there's a responsibility. And for public companies to become, we'll call it approved, or to get their companies that are trading, they have to hit these deadlines by the date. If they're late, they can either get their shares suspended. Okay, so we understand rules and regulations on stocks. We're clear with that. But let's move on to these alternative coins. You've heard of all types of coins, Zoom coin, Moon coin, Dogecoin, you name it, it's out there.
One coin.
One coin. The issue, and step in anytime, AJ, if I'm rambling, but the issue here is that out of nowhere, exchanges were created. Now, what is an exchange? An exchange is basically a website that is using, it could even be off-the-shelf turnkey technology that was, invented by another company that also has it. They could have white labeled it. So you open up a website, you open up an account, you get on there, you either buy your Bitcoin or you buy your alternative coins, and let's say the price goes up, you want to sell them. Well, they act as an intermediary. The problem here is these exchanges were non-regulated. So we're talking about a non-regulated exchange. Now, the Americans said, forget it. If you're going to sell this to Americans, you got to be regulated. And I think the only game in town that's doing that is who's it? CoinDesk? Or not CoinDesk. Armstrong. Who's the guy, AJ, that's running pretty much the only publicly listed trading platform out there?
Oh yeah, it's on the tip of my.
I think his name is Brian Armstrong. I believe that. There's so many names going on in my head tonight, guys. Yeah, Brian Armstrong. Coinbase, CEO of Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase.
So they are regulated. They follow the PCAOB, which is the accounting platform that they have to abide by. They follow the rules and regulations. And they have to follow it to a T, or they get suspended, or they get fined, or if there's any corruption, they get jailed. Okay, so Coinbase is basically a trading platform. Buy and sell your coins. Okay, all these other we'll call them all these other bandits out there decided to come up with these big companies, or even small companies at the start, and they would start with small exchanges. They could be anything. So the Americans said, get them off. You can't put them on there. Not on our shores. If you're going to do it, do it outside of America. Well, voila. So you now enters the Caribbean islands, the Seychelles, all these countries that would gladly love to see money flow through bank accounts and employ people in the IT business. So that's why you see all these bandits. They're either getting arrested in the Bahamas or the Turks and Caicos or in most of these offshore destinations. And that's not to say that, there's these offshore destinations are filled with bandits, but, it's difficult. So let me just read some of the comments here, and then I'm going to continue on. Go ahead, AJ. I'll just highlight some of the comments, and maybe you can continue on. I'm going to add to that. I just don't want to preach to everybody for the first 10 minutes. Fire away, AJ.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Alex. And it seems to be crumbling all around us. I remember a few years ago when Bitcoin was on its way up. But you got to understand the market situation back then is very different to the market situation it is now. Bitcoin is so much different from when it first got released. When it first got released, it was supposed to be a decentralized platform. No government can get involved. And then you had your biggest customer base, which were drug dealers and, terrorists and all of these criminals using Bitcoin. And this is what made Bitcoin successful, because you had this huge underground market of all these criminals and exchanging money and stuff like that. They exchange money so the feds can't track it, and it's really difficult to also get them arrested and use that in a court of law, because they can't see where that money gone and went to and things like that. So a lot of criminals were getting away with it. And then you have the Bitcoin mining problem as well. I mean, back then, Bitcoin mining was not very expensive, and everybody who knows anything about Bitcoin mining, when you mine one Bitcoin, the next one Bitcoin that you have to mine takes extra resources, and we're talking about extra energy, and you need a more powerful computer, you need a bigger, processing power, and you need energy for that. So in the beginning, it was fine, but as each Bitcoin takes more and more energy, it's come to the point when it was using huge amounts of energy, and most of the Bitcoin mining companies were doing their business in China, because in China you have a lot of energy there, and energy is also very cheap as well. So you had a lot of Bitcoin companies using mining in China, and also a lot of people were money laundering in China as well. They were getting their money out of China, in and out of China as well. And then overnight, China decided to stop that. And and then you had the feds who actually decided to get into the Bitcoin. So it wasn't a safe platform anymore. It wasn't you wouldn't call it a decentralized platform. The feds have got their hands all over it. So that means all these criminals and underground drug dealers all
Mhm.
stopped using Bitcoin. I believe they've all gone to other things like Monero and things like that, which is okay, but it's not great. And then the feds are getting into that as well. So it's not a platform anymore where criminals can move money around and trade with each other. It used to be like that. I mean,
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that,
but
because
I'm pretty sure, because if you look at Alphabet used to be
Mhm.
it used to be a big, massive drugs platform in the dark web, and that got shut
Right.
down. And the guy,
Sure.
they managed to get hold of the guy, and they managed to get hold of all of his funds in Bitcoin,
Right.
and many other
Yeah.
stuff in
Yeah,
China.
and then there is the Silk Road that
Yeah,
he
yeah,
eventually got arrested. Now, the part I'm going to disagree with you about is not about the element of fraud back then. I'm talking about the white collar, blatant arrogance of these absolute ASSHOLELES that have gone out there, have used technology, open websites, open trading platforms, offshore. These are the guys that I'm going after now. Okay, the offshore bandits that have set up these trading platforms. They get everybody to put their money in. All right,
yeah,
they buy and sell, they trade. They think, oh yeah, I made this money. This is great. And then while they're doing it, they're front running your trades. They know what your trades are. They're
yeah,
front
yeah,
running it. They're sending it to another division that they've opened up, another subsidiary. This company that went under, FTX, it took another 132 minor entities down with it. And all they were is little guys getting in there, clipping for half a cent trades or a cent trade, front running, ramping up, spiking down, ramping it. It was absolutely disgusting. Now, they got caught. Here's the problem, guys. Here is the major problem. I'm just got some other news coming in. I'm not going to bring this up on the screen yet because I'm going to wait until our audience grows a little bit bigger. But this is a rocket. What I've just got sent here. So let me just clarify a little bit more. Some guy or girl sets up in the Bahamas. Okay, they invest in a crypto trading exchange. U.S. clients open up. We'll say they're the first target. US clients, European clients open up accounts. They put their money in, their fiat money. Money goes in, they buy these crypto coins. Now, some of these exchanges also print their own dollars or their own coins, okay?
yeah,
At 0.000, it's paper. But then they put that on their books. So the Ponzi scheme starts. Now, you could put in one of your Bitcoins into the account. They could use all that liquidity to do whatever they want with it. They've done it. And I don't want to see people come on and say, oh yeah, man, it's, this is, you don't understand, Alex. I clearly understand what a pump and dump is. I clearly understand what breaking the rules is and creating these companies offshore. Okay, the Bahamas. How many integrated police departments that have in cybercrime are in the Bahamas? Okay, I mean, that can deal with something like a failure like FTX. FTX, for all those viewers that don't know, this company spent millions on the Democrats' election, and AJ, you can cover that in a second. They spent billions trading, which they've lost. The hole could be as big as $8 billion. Did they separate the accounts from their trading festivities? No. The customers got dragged down with it. We're hearing that there's over 1 million creditors. So all it takes, website, let's call it a little bit of turnkey trading software, boom, a logo, and your account is open. Now, these accounts don't report to the US. They don't report to the SEC. They don't report because they don't want to be regulated. They never wanted to be regulated. Why would they want to be regulated? And they always hide by, well, that's really why Bitcoin was in there. You know what? A guy said it really well today, and I'm going to bring this up to you guys on the screen here. He's actually a sharp guy. This guy is anti what's going on. His name is Jack Mallers. He's the CEO of Strike. Now, Strike is in the business of basically connecting. I'll try to clarify this. This young man is trying to get Bitcoin connected with fiat, connected with merchants purchasing accounts. And anyway, it's complicated, but he's not running an exchange. He's not running this. He likes the idea of Bitcoin. But this guy is interesting. And for him to come out and speak against the entire crypto market, it shows you that this guy is definitely on the right way that I would say that Bitcoin and the rest of this should be going. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it up on the tab here and let you guys listen to this guy. He's a smart guy. Well, he appeared on CNBC. So let's just have a listen.
Fallout, and also whether Strike in any form or fashion, or yourself even personally, have any kind of exposure to what we're seeing play out?
No. Strike, myself, and Bitcoin at large has nothing to do with SBF and FTX. I mean, it's nothing other than absolutely disgusting and malicious crime. In the same way that someone can go hijack a car down the street from my house, that has nothing to do with Bitcoin either. Unfortunately, it's just an extreme level of criminal activity, crime, and fraud. However, I think a really important point to make is that the world is finally starting to realize that there's Bitcoin and there's everything else. The way I like to describe the crypto industry and blockchain is it's an arbitrage on the trend. I mean, humanity really found its stride in inventing Bitcoin. Money is the most valuable market good we have in any market. It's nucleus to a functioning society. And we made and engineered the best version of it. And the fact that there are other cryptos that have been able to come along and take advantage of the pure desire and need for an invention and technological breakthrough like Bitcoin, and then be able to sell things like Orange Coin and Pink Coin and FTX Coin, which are just vehicles to violent levels of crime. It's sad and it's disgusting. And it's got to stop. So it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. If anything, it should be a very expensive and painful lesson of that there's Bitcoin and there's everything else. And the last thing I'll say is there's doesn't shock me at all that FTX actually owns 0 Bitcoin. Because if you want to commit fraud, if you want to commit crime, if you want to upsell and wash trade pictures of monkeys, you don't use Bitcoin. This is a well-engineered freedom fighting tool for our species. And there's everything else it's got to stop. So the arbitrage on this trend has been margin called. And it's over. And now people can see the difference between what is a well-engineered tool for humanity and what is FTX counterfeit coin.
You have strong opinions on this, and I get that. And certainly many other Bitcoin enthusiasts, such as yourself, have said very similar things on our programming over the past week plus since we've seen the implosion of FTX. I want to get into that because it sort of speaks to versus centralized. But first, I mean, the fact that you are seeing some contagion, at least in the broader cryptocurrency now, it's clearly a culling that's underway. You could argue it started before FTX. It's continuing now. Does it set back broader adoption of something like Bitcoin because it's considered, for better or worse, part of this broader industry?
Sure. I mean, you could think of it two ways. They had to get washed out, right? You had a criminal running rampant. They had to get caught. So better catch them today than tomorrow. So in that way, we're making progress. Actual real value that's pushing forward is being realized, and those faking it are getting in trouble. That's a good thing. But no, I've always said the biggest cost of the arbitrage on the trend, outside of the very obvious, and I don't want to dilute this, is just innocent people losing money, which is absolutely terrible and awful, and they should not have been allowed to be subjected to that. But that aside is the cost of just human capital. Is that like I'm
you're saying unequivocally free?
I'm not sitting next to my lawyer. I don't know what claims I'm allowed to make. But you tell me, Tyler.
That's not for me to say. I'm the
Okay,
questioner
yeah,
here.
I think the guy created funny money out of thin air, potentially washed it, borrowed against it with customer funds, and lost it all.
All right.
That's not legal.
Okay, cool. Well, not cool, but you know what I'm saying. I just thank you for your answer.
Sure.
Freedom fighting tool for our species. That's highfalutin rhetoric. Why do you say that?
Bitcoin gives everyone in the world property rights secured by mathematics. I mean, Bitcoin is the first monetary asset that we've been able to engineer with no natural issuer. Bitcoin has no liability relationship with anyone else. It is a guaranteed, fixed, protected monetary policy and instrument. I mean, in order to function any sort of scalable trade, which is underpins society. I grow bananas, you sell apples, Tyler. We got to find a way to exchange. Money is the nucleus of functioning human society. And we've been able to a breakthrough in computer science and engineer the best version of that is accessible to everyone and equitable for everyone. No one has an advantage. There's no issuer. Even Satoshi Nakamoto had to use energy to his or her first Bitcoins. Huge deal. Huge advancement.
What does regulation, what does this do to, what does regulation now do to Bitcoin, given the fact that there is now a bigger risk of a broader brushstroke used by regulators, given everything that we're seeing play out in other areas of cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I mean, my take is either the SEC or an agency like it has to stop existing and admit to the free market. It's your responsibility. But if they're going to say that we will help protect you, they need to do that.
Well, there you guys go. So, I mean, it's very clear. There's another thing that I want to bring up on this program, and that you guys aren't probably aware of directly, but I think you are indirectly aware of. There are other content creators out there that call themselves, we'll call it financial gurus or influencers that are out there. They have handsomely been rewarded from these crypto companies. And I used to always see in some of my videos, people starting conversations about crypto. And if you think that is spam, that is not. That is a well-orchestrated promotion that has undertaken. And they do that on a lot of finance sites. They go and they strike up a conversation. Oh, my life changed since I got into this. Now, I'm not saying that certain technologies are bad or certain inventions are bad. The Bitcoin is a very, very interesting idea. And if used right and effectively right, it works. But the problem is now that entire industry is riddled with crime, riddled with fraud. And I'm going to bring up on this, I've just done a little bit of digging here over the last few days. And the reason why I bring that up is there's a lawsuit that has just hit the South District of Florida, Miami. This is a class action lawsuit against the SBF and the FTX company. This is a class action complaint and demand letter for a jury trial. Now, let me just go on a little bit of larger screen here to try to show you guys what we're looking at here. But this pretty much spells out what's been going on here. It names all the companies from the owner or the former CEO of FTX. He goes by the name of SBF. Sam Bankman. I call his last name Fraud now. Sam Bankman Fraud.
Yeah.
But you will see a lot of the people that are named in this lawsuit, everyone. So Sam Bankman Fraud, whatever you want to call it. Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors, Shaquille O'Neal, William Trevor Lawrence, Naomi Osaka, Lawrence Jenny David, Kevin O'Leary is part of this.
Yeah.
And this lawsuit, I'm going to tell you, you can't run away from these class action lawsuits.
No.
These are bloody expensive. They have the power and the ability to garnish or at least have an effect. If you're in business, this is the last thing that you want to have drop on your doorstep. And we are seeing a lot of big names there. And I'm pretty surprised about this. But there's something going around on the content creators that there's a lot of YouTubers that made a lot of money pumping and promoting crypto. And maybe AJ, you can talk about that subject and add some more to this.
Yeah, sure. I was actually trying to finish what I was saying earlier. I was coming to a point, so I'll try to basically finish my point. So I did say that Bitcoin basically got kicked out of China, and so they lost a huge market in China. And then they also started losing out on lots of kind of drug dealers who are doing trades in the dark net. So what did FTX and other Bitcoin currencies do? They basically doubled down on money laundering, and they doubled down with new contracts with the government. And that's what they've done. They basically shook hands with the devil, shook hands with the administration, and decided to launder money for them for Ukraine. And this seems to be a winner for them. Everybody was winning. They were making loads of money. Ukraine, Zelensky was making a lot of money. The people in the White House and Senates were making a lot of money laundering for Ukraine. And you're talking about big business here. You're talking, how much money has gone into Ukraine since the start of the war? We're talking well over 100 billion. So out go the small change, these drug dealers and stuff, and China. But now in comes all of these major money laundering organizations, the government, and they basically shook hands with the devil. They've doubled down with all these money laundering things, and this is where they've ended up. And yeah, I was just trying to come to that point. So what was you mentioned a question you wanted to kind of
I mean, there are and I'm not gonna bring it up on the YouTubers that were paid, but there are a lot of content creators out there that are promoting
of course.
these exchanges. FTX is everywhere on a lot of there's four of them in particular.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at my channel, and sometimes you have all of these spam comments coming up saying crypto this, crypto that, FTX this, FTX that, and everybody's probably seen it. It's not just my channel, but in every other channel as well. You see all of these.
This is and here's a viewer that's saying, just have a look at the screen here, AJ. This is exactly what you're saying. Is wonder how many of those YouTubers who said China will collapse in X days promoted FTX. Funny enough, you say that. In fact, you are right. I seen some of these videos that said 28 days till China collapses, and these guys were pushing actually FTX. You are right. So I mean, it's
so
amazing.
They've all got an agenda. They've all got agenda. They all hate China because China kicked them out. So this is why a lot of them who actually promote FTX and promote cryptocurrency basically have an agenda against China because they've kicked them out of the market. They've lost a lot of money, and now they're coming up with all ridiculous stories about China. And now they've obviously double down on FTX, double down on Ukraine, and it's really has bitten them in the arse. And because when you start doing money laundering for Ukraine, you basically they're bitten off more than they can chew, Alex. I think it's just it's one big shark they decided to swim with in the waters.
I'm just wondering if our audience is aware of who is the largest now that FTX has fallen. Let's have a look in the side chair. I know I'm not a big crypto guy here, but it's come on strong here in the last couple of weeks when you're seeing staggering numbers that are way bigger than the losses that Bernie Madoff caused on people. These are astronomical. And even the Winkle brothers, who were, I guess, a shareholder at one time of Facebook, or even potentially involved in the actual development of that, their business went to the wall as well. Gemini and Genesis, those went to filed for bankruptcy. But let's have a look here. I'm just going to see if in the side chat, because this is I'm setting this up for the next part. Does anybody know which is the largest trading platform out there besides, I guess, Brian Armstrong's company, Coinbase? Does anybody know?
It's Benziga, isn't it? Benziga.
So you're talking about CZ, right? You're Binance? You're talking Binance? Binance. Okay, here we go. Binance is the biggest now.
Yeah, Binance.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, got some breaking news for you guys here. This doesn't look good. Okay, this does not look good at all. This is very troubling news. Binance has suspended Solana USDT. If you're not familiar with USDT is, that's Tether. That is another gigantic one-to-one pegging of US dollars to their, we'll call it algorithmic coin. But Solana cryptocurrency fell nearly 5% during today's session at a pace of decline accelerating. Crypto exchange Binance and OKX announced temporary suspensions, USDC SOL and the USDT SOL deposits. This is huge news. So something is cooking here. This is not good. I don't know what that means. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And this is all over. We're seeing this fall over and fall over and fall over. And this is not good when you see Solana and USDT and the USDC deposits get suspended. This is bad news. I also got a WeChat message from a friend of mine here, and he's saying notice to the suspension of withdrawals on Solana network. Fellow Binanceans, withdrawals on the Solana SOL network have been suspended. Okay, and 9 minutes ago, breaking, Binance suspends Solana, USDT, and USDC. The move comes after recent suspension of USDC and USD on Solana deposits and withdrawals by Crypto.com. Oh boy. This is going to go all over the place. I don't know where this is going to land, but I don't think regulation is going to fix this either, because there's just, these entities are all over the place. It's a whack-a-mole. You're going to have quite a difficult time trying to shut this down. And it's a Wild West, I guess. You know, if you want to throw money at it, it is like musical chairs. The music stops, your money's in that account. It's gone. It's gone. No, there's nowhere to protect you. Everybody's screaming regulation now. But they were happy to put their money. Look, you're putting your money in the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos. I mean, non-regulated, non-protected accounts trading this. What do you guys think is going to happen? It's crazy.
Let me tell you a story, Alex.
Please do.
so I've never invested in crypto myself, mainly because I've heard some real nightmares. And one of these nightmares came from one of my best friends, and he basically, what he did, he put all of his savings into Bitcoin, and he put all the keys in a hard drive. It's like a portable hard disk, basically, and that's got all of his keys and everything in his life was in this hard drive, in this little pen drive, USB drive. And he was traveling, basically, and he basically had this in his keys, and his keys were in his pocket, and he's put his mobile phone in the same pocket, and he was traveling, and he went to another country, and he decided to kind of cash out this all of his Bitcoin that he transferred. Obviously, you cannot take money in cash to another country, so this is how he did it. So he landed, and first thing he looked for was a computer, a cafe. He went into the cafe, plugged in his pen drive, and guess what? The pen drive got corrupted because he was in the same pocket as his mobile phone
Oh
and
my.
his keys. So he lost. We're talking about £500,000 he lost because he sold his house, he sold everything, and he got completely corrupted. And he was like, okay, nothing to worry about. I'm just gonna take it to a PC repair shop, and I'm sure they'll fix it. So he took it to the PC repair shop, and guess what? They couldn't recover it. They couldn't fix it.
Oh my
And
Lord.
so
My.
that's all of it gone. So when people say to me, "Oh, crypto is safe. You can keep it in your key. You can take it around with you," I don't believe any of that shit, because when it gets corrupted, or when something happens to it, or if you lose it, then that's it. All of your money is gone. And I don't believe in anything online as well. If you're online and you kind of you have your key saved on your laptop and stuff like that, again, these can be hacked. It's so easy to hack other people's laptops through the internet, and you just cannot trust crypto. That's why I've never ever kind of invested in it or used it in in any capacity. I just do not trust it, Alex. And seeing all of this happening right now, I was 100% right not to touch it. And I'm sure a lot of people have been burnt through this. A lot of people.
And I don't think everybody targets the word Bitcoin. I mean, I understand that I understand. Okay, crypto community. I understand. Okay, I understand where you want Bitcoin to go. The issue, and we just saw that young lad that was on the program talking to CNBC earlier. There's Bitcoin, and then there's the rest. He's right about that. The rest is what I'm really focusing on in tonight here, and that really has a catastrophic effect on people. We are talking millions and millions of clients that have been just thrown to the wall here. Now you could say, well, they shouldn't have been silly. They could have got their money out. You got to remember that sometimes these things are dressed up to look like a bank. They even say they're a bank. They even say their deposits are protected. And sometimes it's good to look back and maybe listen to some of the, the gurus of older years, the guys that have been in these financial markets for many years. Okay. And here's one other little video that I would like to share with the audience, because after I watched this, I was kind of like, okay, and this is one of Berkshire's Munger. You can just listen to what he's got to say here, because this is quite interesting. And of course, he's always been a skeptic, but he doubles down. Let's have a listen.
Sticking with crypto this morning, our Becky Quick caught up with Berkshire's Vice Chairman Charlie Munger, longtime crypto skeptic, and joins us now with some of the highlights. Becky, I wasn't sure he would be able to find new ways to talk about crypto, but you got it out of him.
Well, he's a pretty creative guy. You know that he hasn't liked crypto, hasn't liked it for a long time. He's called it evil. He's called it rat poison. He's even compared it earlier this to venereal disease. And if you wonder if the debacle at FTX is making him like it anymore, well, you might be right if you thought, no, that is not the case. It's not just crypto that he's concerned with, but it's also a lot of the big name investors that we're very familiar with, names like Sequoia that got involved with FTX. That's where he's focusing some of his ire today, too.
It pains me that in my own country, I see people that were once regarded as very reputable people helping these things exist, promoting their use and so forth. This is a very, very bad thing. The country did not need a currency that's good for kidnappers and so on.
What do you think happened? Because there are a lot of big names, a lot of people and firms that you might not have anticipated.
That's what depresses me. There are people who think they just got to be on every deal that's hot, and they don't care whether it's child prostitution or Bitcoin. If it's hot, they want to be on it.
Wow.
I think that's totally crazy. reputation is very helpful in financial life. And to destroy your reputation by associating with scumballs and their scumball promotions, a huge mistake.
Do you think those companies did any due diligence, or what happened?
I think they actually mean well, so that you're seeing a lot of delusion. It's partly fraud and partly delusion. That's a bad combination. I don't like either fraud or, and the delusion may be more extreme than the fraud.
Delusion, how so?
Nobody's going to bet a new thing that every 12-year-old kid can be a billionaire or something. He just calls it Munger coin. He starts trading it or something. It's crazy. It's demented.
Now, Munger did say that there was an underlyingness to the whole thing, a good idea underneath it. This idea, he said, that a lot of people got dragged in by the computer science aspect of it all. But he says it's a lot easier to take a good idea to wretched excess than it is a bad idea. That's something Ben Graham taught years and years ago, and he referenced Ben Graham and talking about some of those issues. He said that one of the big issues he has is, yes, people are going to dress this up. They're going to make it sound different. He said, because nobody ever tells you that they're trying to sell you crap, although he used a different word for it. And it's just that this is the smoke and mirrors, the magic and fairy dust, as he puts it, in terms of putting those things out there. Guys, I'll send it back over to you.
So interesting. And we see some comments here in the sidebar here that this is similar to the stock market. You know, at least on the stock market, for most part, you have an orderly market. You have regulators that can't catch everything, but they try their most. You have balance sheets. You have companies behind that balance sheets. They have employees. They have accounting departments. They have a board members. They have accountability. At least you can scream to the high heavens if something is wrong with that company, or if you've been defrauded, you have some sort of protection. Here is when the bandits that are offshore and other entities, and some of them are purposely in countries that don't have extradition, then it's very hard. And overnight, you lose your money. There are some creditor protections in some U.S. banks. I know in Switzerland and many other European banks, there's a minimal deposit insurance that is, you know, at least, you know, welcoming. It's not really the big players that, you know, that are the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the, you know, the Ma's and the Pa's and the young guys that have, you know, maybe their life savings in here. You know, $5,000 to somebody at 18 years old is a lot of money. It was when I was at 18. And if they believed in it and were told to believe in it, you got to remember here, AJ, as well, we're talking about an entire generation that has been trained to buy and sell and trade these coins. And I'm eliminating Bitcoin from this, okay? I'm talking about these exchanges here. You have at least a decade of young people that have got into this market, and this is what they know. We can't blame them for that. It's like a new fad for us, you know. We I don't know. We caught in on a fad, but this here is it's a young generation that I believe were most of the people behind driving this. At least from what I'm seeing on the influencers that are pushing this. Some of them are in their early 20s or late 20s. Well, you know, rewind 10 years ago, you know, they're 19, 20 years old, and now they're buying into this. So where something went wrong, and society is telling them that you should buy and sell these coins. Don't trust in your local country's currency. I can understand that. But the problem here now is the vultures came in, guys. The vultures, they've come in and they've just wiped off billions of dollars of the people's money. So you can imagine all throughout the United States, the United Kingdom, and all throughout Europe, there's a lot of young brains that aren't really understanding how they've, you know, lost everything overnight without any protection. Us older dogs, we put our money in the bank, we play the market, we buy and sell securities, and we have an understanding that there is some protection and some risk. But some of this younger generation that's being wrapped up in this, guys, there's victims out there, and they're into the millions, and it's gaining speed. Maybe you can add to that, AJ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, they have been sending a lot of money to Ukraine via this as well. A lot of money has been people have been giving charity and stuff. Everything's ended up on the FTX. And funnily enough, Alex, the day FTX collapsed, day later, you see people from Ukraine, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, saying that Ukraine is in dire straits. We need money now. We need billions. And then Zelensky is saying, "Oh, I'm open for peace talks. I'm open for." They know the game is up, and that's why they're either asking for money or they're asking for peace talks. And it's no coincidence that this happened a day later. But Alex, if you give me 5-10 minutes, I've just got a quick call I need to take
no problem.
from work.
Take it, AJ.
If you carry on,
Take it easy.
I'll come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, AJ
Cheers.
will join us back here in a bit. So everyone, I want to now discuss something else with you guys. We say that, a lot of the victims are, let's say, younger adults that are experiencing losses. When they log into their accounts, they're told that they can't withdraw their money. They suspend transactions. This is devastating. But something else that I want to bring to everyone's attention is there was a lot of major companies involved in financing FTX. And FTX is, we'll call it the exchange of flavor right now, because they're the ones that are, in all the headlines. I'm just going to see if I can pick up and see who exactly was investing in this. So there were some big names in here, some huge names. Investors included BlackRock. So if you're invested in BlackRock, you're affected. Tiger Global, you're affected. Insight Partners, Paradigm, as well as, can you believe this? I believe it was the Canadian Pension Fund is involved in this as well. And some of these, Socorro Financing lost $150 million. Now they say, well, it didn't really massively affect our bottom line, but still, that's $150 million gone. It's gone. So amazing. And these are some big names. As well as, we will continue to see names fall as this goes on. How many people lost money with FTX? Over 1 million people and businesses could be owed money following the collapse of the crypto exchange FTX, according to the bankruptcy filings. There's also been reports that FTX suffered a hack, allegedly, taking millions of dollars of crypto from the firm. It's a worrying time for individuals who have lost money in that. We are seeing, big names with this as well. We saw some disturbing news coming out of Binance as well. So these alleged trading firms, I like how they call themselves trading firms and trading platforms. Sorry, guys, but most of this stuff is just, it's make-believe stuff. It's really, okay, I'm going to start a website and I'm going to start a trading firm and I'm going to call it, CBDYX, and, or something with that X at the end there, FX, it's kind of like for Forex, but FTX, and then they use the words, we're going to arbitrage and we're selling derivatives. And basically at the end of the day, it's made to look good, flashy and nice websites that are showing beautifully trading little candle bars, red and green candles, and gets you excited about trading. And the next thing you know, your money's gone. And it's there. There are people that will continue to invest in this, even if the warnings aren't there, but they will. Let's have a look at this comment here. So irregular investing in crypto for a pension fund. Yes, it's interesting. Let me find who it was that invested in that pension fund, FTX investment. Let me just try to pull up the name, guys. Yeah, okay, us. And here we go. I'm going to pull this up for you guys to just read this while we're on here. And this is pretty damn disturbing. I mean, this is crazy. I can't even believe I'm reading this. So if you say that you're not affected by crypto, you just might be, okay? And here's why. Let's have a look here on the tab here. Let me just bring this story up here. And this is my Canadian neighbors here. You guys can see, as FTX ties in Canada grew, was due diligence done by regulators and the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan? Seriously, guys. I mean, I am speechless, and I don't know how much money the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan put in there, but it was a lot. And yeah, where is the due diligence? Okay, the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan had its own opportunity to conduct due diligence into FTX. Teachers said last week that it invested, get ready for it, guys. Get ready. I can't believe this. A total of $95 million into FTX over 2 rounds. US $75 million in October 2021, followed by an additional $20 million in 2022. This week, the teacher spokesman, Dan Mage, would not say whether it performed due diligence before it invested in FTX. Shocking. People should go to jail. Get out the orange jumpsuits because, yeah, you guys should be going to jail. It's very, very simple. Will the regulators do things? They might find a couple of fall guys for this, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the comments here. Dark cloud, possibly interesting. Yes, we saw this on today's headline. Trudeau needs another scolding from Xi. Yeah, we saw that was interesting as well. Thank you guys for showing that. This is interesting. I kind of agree with you on this. White won't happen. White collar crime is never prosecuted. And this is another one saying that Kim Kardashian, all of those influencers should go to jail as well. I would say that they should give the money back and put it into a fund to at least help pay off these creditors or these, we'll call it client. But here's the issue in bankruptcy reporting: anybody can throw an invoice in there. And when you got 130 some companies like this guy did at FTX, he can just say, well, that company's owed 10 million, that's owed that. And it's up to the person that's winding down these companies to decide that. It's pretty crazy here. This is interesting, JD. You're on the cuff this one, that's for sure. I wonder how El Salvador is faring this week. Yes, and if you guys aren't aware that El Salvador has recognized Bitcoin, I don't think it's too much about Bitcoin itself, everyone. I think it's more focused on these trading firms and these alternative coins and these, derivative trading, cryptocurrency thing. It's crazy. Yes, and you guys are really on top of this story for sure. The Democrats got 40 million from FTX. Where's the outrage? Will they return it to investors? It's funny. I did see a comment on that yesterday where they did claim that they're going to put together a fund or to help with that. It's pretty interesting. This is good. JD, again, I'm going to use your quotes here. I bet their due diligence was something like, if it's good enough for BlackRock, it's good enough for me. I think that's pretty accurate because we're talking about some serious firms here that lost a lot of money here on these exchanges. And the news coming out of Binance in the last few minutes hasn't been great either. It looks like it has actually spilled onto the futures market here in the United States here, and it looks like it's going to be an ugly open for the American markets here tonight. They're showing the NASDAQ is down 1.56 pre-market, S&P is down 1.35 pre-market, and the Dow futures are down almost 400. Yeah, it's troubling, and to see a lot of these go on even during the pandemic. I think a lot of people were just sitting at home trading, and a lot more promotion was going on. A lot of money was coming into these companies. I mean, their turnover was massive, guys. It was bigger than some of the banks in the United States. And like they say, things come to an end. Let's see here. Called out Binance. Yes, correct. Okay, that's interesting. Just so you guys know, if you're just joining now, AJ will be back in a few minutes. My name is Alex. I also have a channel called Reportify Media. If you haven't seen it, check out the description in the link in the description below. And I'm also broadcasting on iChongqing. If the audience isn't aware of that, iChongqing, it's ICHONGQING. The links are available in also AJ's descriptions as well. So our topic today is the crypto chaos, and I really appreciate you guys spending some time here. FTX was used by many cryptocurrency companies. They will go broke soon. That's right. We're starting to see contagion happen, and it is rampant. It is going on everywhere. A few that went down here today, I believe. Let's just see what companies have gone under here in the last week here. It's been quite a few. Maybe you guys can chime in the comments and let us know if you know anybody that has been affected by this, and maybe you guys have a story that you guys can share with us, because we'd definitely be interested in hearing that. BlockFi also prepares for potential bankruptcy as crypto contagion spreads as well. BlockFi, we can get some information on BlockFi. Let's see how many account holders at BlockFi there are and how badly they were affected. BlockFi is a digital asset founded in 2017. It is based in Jersey City, New Jersey. It was once valued at $3 billion. Nice amount. All of these have billions. I'm looking at some of the comments. You guys cracked me up. BlockFi is a digital asset lender. A lender, okay. Founded in 2017, it was announced that the cryptocurrency exchange FTX made a deal with an option to buy BlockFi for up to $240 million. The deal included $400 million credit facility. Well, there's where you get your massive black hole in FTX. In November 2022, after a declaration of bankruptcy of FTX, the company halted withdrawals. That means clients can't get their money out. The firm disclosed significant exposure to FTX on the 14th and the 15th. BlockFi filed for bankruptcy. So not good. I believe Genesis has already gone to the wall, Blue Star. I believe they announced that today. Maybe you guys have some predictions on other firms that could potentially be in trouble if you are following this kind of thing, as well as another thing that I want to bring up is this has repercussions. This is going on and on through other companies, and this will spill over eventually into other markets around the world. There's just too much money going around here. Hi, Ronnie. Just to answer you, AJ, where is AJ? He will be back soon. He's just on a call right now. It's AJ is punished by his boss. That's true. Yes, this is interesting. They all had a shady business with Sam bank run fraud. Yeah, and I believe maybe you guys can bring to the attention to some of the people watching today what other firms or funds that you think are in trouble. You know, I can only go back to maybe, was it 2008 or 9 when we got some news about Bernie Madoff, and that really rocked the market. He was convicted in March of 2009. But they did manage to retrieve a lot of that money. Not all of it, but enough that they were refunding or giving people some money back, and some of the banks did actually cover that. But let's just see how much investor losses were with Madoff, and let's compare them to today. So Madoff Investment Security lost billions of dollars. The amount missing the clients, over 2/3 of which were fabricated gains. So they're coming in with probably around 20 billion, maybe less. Madoff was serving. He was serving a 150-year prison sentence for his scheme. Investigators say he defrauded as many as 37,000 people. That sounds pretty small compared to what these gangsters have got away with over the last couple of weeks. I mean, we're talking huge account numbers here, into the millions of people that have lost a staggering amount of money. Yes, Rolf, Genesis has halted its withdrawals. It's incredible with what's been going on in this space, really. Frankie boy, Madoff stole from the rich is why he is in prison. But yes, I do think, as one firm goes down, more will follow. This is going to be a very, very long-term thing. This is going to take a lot of time to work itself out. And if you guys aren't aware how these bankruptcy proceedings happen, it's very clear. The trustees go in, they basically lock down the bank accounts. Of course, they have their own bill that they put in for doing their job. It's quite a job for the accountants and the lawyers to work out, but they make sure that they get paid first. So they jump in, they basically send creditors a letter, how much you owe, put it on paper. And once they collect, find out where all this money or some of it is gone or what is left, what they can sell, whether it's the kitchen sink or the desk in the office, then it's broken up on a, per cents on the dollar transaction. After that, basically you can take what you want from that. Some people get zero. Some people wait it out, and some of these things take a decade to work themselves out. It's interesting that, in China here, they banned crypto a few years ago. And this is interesting because now you have a country that is not exposed to this type of fraud. Okay. And it's a big market. It's 1.5 billion people. The Earth just hit a population of 8 billion, I think 2 weeks ago. But that tells you that this was a huge market. And lo and behold, the government did protect people. So Dark Cloud, AJ will answer that in a few minutes when he comes back on there. I believe that we will get into a second phase of this. I just would like to know where everybody's viewing from today, so we have a good idea of what time frame that you guys are in. If you could put maybe a general city or state or country that you guys are coming in and watching the program, that would be really helpful to us. And as AJ, when he gets back. All right. So yes, I'm just watching, seeing where everybody's coming in from. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Who do you guys think is the next company to fall? That would be the interesting question. Which is the next one to fall? Is it going to be, and what country? That would be interesting. I bet you it is one that is definitely offshore. That is for sure. Let's talk about the geopolitical climate here and what could really happen. We're talking a lot of money here, and all the arrows go to the regulator saying, how could you not see this? How could you not see this happen? A lot of this stuff is started, with a good idea. A lot of it is state-bound started, and then it goes offshore for a reason. And it ends up offshore, and because there's less regulators over there. They don't really care as long as you're paying. And just to let you know, it costs about $1,000 to open up an offshore company. To get a bank account attached to that, maybe another $1,000. A couple of directors that will sit in front of you and hide the beneficial owner. That's another $500 for maybe directors. So I don't know, $3,500 to get your company up and going. Maybe another $50 to $100 for some business cards, and a template for a address, and throw on a website, more grand there. So about 10 grand, you can pretty much have your own little trading facility and start accepting funds, saying, hey, we have no issues with FTX. We're clean. Our balance sheet is clean. Everything is fine. Labas vakaras to the Lithuanian Aussie. Thank you for coming in. I think AJ is back in the stream here. Let's have a look. AJ, are you here?
I am here. Yeah. Did you guys miss me? Yeah. Apologies for that. I had. It's a really busy day today. I'm getting a lot of phone calls regarding my work, and so apologies for that to all the listeners and stuff. Yeah, during work hours, doing live streaming is very risky for me. Normally, it's not that busy. Obviously, last few weeks or few months has been very, very quiet, but unusually today seems to be very, very busy for me, Alex. Unusually, but yeah, normally I'm pretty free and stuff. I think it's just today.
Yeah, we were just talking about Bernie Madoff. You know that there was only, I shouldn't say there was only, but there was 37,000 victims. And in the FTX, SF or SBF, I can't remember it now. Anyway, our gentleman who was the CEO of FTX, they took down over 1 million accounts. So this is going to be the young minds that and the people that are affected by this. You kind of want to say, I told you so, but then in a way, you got to understand that some of the younger generation has really been programmed that this was the right way to go.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
who's to protect
exactly.
these people? Who's going
Yeah,
to protect them?
Exactly. I'm just laughing at. I was talking about Ukraine and all of these people sending money via to kind of Zelensky, and a lot of people have lost money during that. But I'm also laughing at some of these celebrities, like Mark Hamill was raising funds. He was basically raising funds for drones for Ukraine, and that was going through the FTX as well. I was doing some research on that yesterday, and I found out that was going through FTX. So all of that money he raised is gone. A lot of other people have been raising money for Ukraine is gone, and yeah, I mean, come on, if you're stupid enough to send money to Ukraine thinking it's going to the people, then you deserve that happening to you. If you think that all of that money is going to go to Ukrainian people, no. First of all, it's going to go to Zelensky. Then it's going to go all the way back to the Congress and all the Senates. You know, the people are the last people to get anything.
Yeah, I mean, we can pivot to talk about the Ukraine situation if you want for a moment, since we're on the subject of Ukraine and what's been going on there. We're seeing, I don't think there's much Bitcoin mining going on in that country right now due to the electricity that's been blasted out there. Your thoughts on the movements? I was talking to my friend. I don't know if you guys, if all of the viewers are aware that AJ and I know Patrick Lancaster, who is a independent freelance journalist who has been reporting on the Donetsk People's Republic and the Russian-supported sides for the last 9 years. He said to me yesterday, it's getting intense. You can see by his videos too, a lot of the bombing that is going on. He says, yes, the Ukraine, they are getting advanced equipment, that is for sure. But this could definitely go on for quite some time. Indeed, he says it's getting more troubling by the day. And I mean, your thoughts on what you're hearing. I'm going to pull up these links while you're explaining your thing there.
I just do not think Ukraine has got long to live, really. I mean, since FTX collapse, I'm seeing a lot of stories about how Ukraine is in desperate need of money. And then you have Zelensky, who is actively reminding the EU. He came on yesterday saying, oh, thank you for all of your support you've given so far, but we urgently need this amount of billions to survive. And he's sending reminder emails and letters to the US as well. And I believe the US is trying to steamroll another 30 or 40 billion dollars as well coming his way. And he's sending emails to them saying, can you fast track it, please? he's getting really desperate. And I just do not think Ukraine has got long to live, to be honest. I mean, all Russia has to do is to sit back and defend what they have. And the longer this takes, you know, this is going to be worse for Ukraine, because Ukraine's not making any money. They're not making, they haven't got any, you know, businesses that are running. They haven't got enough people. Most of the men are dying in war. And, you know, they're not doing much in terms of exports. Russia's taken up most of the agricultural land as well that used to make most of the grains. So there really isn't much money coming in for Ukraine. The only money they have is basically they're relying on the West to keep them afloat, and that is going down day by day. You can see the economic situation around the world is not good, especially in UK. And in UK, I'm just going to go through these articles. First of all, they've announced today that they're going to increase taxes for everyone. And not only that, do you remember, Alex, when I told you when Liz Truss said that she's going to give 180 billion or something for people's energy bills? Do you remember when
Yeah.
when
Oh yeah. We
and
remember this.
I said I guarantee you it's going to run out before next April, and next April people's bills are going to double again. Did I say that? And now
Yeah, absolutely.
And now you have the articles proving it. Now, this is the first article I sent you.
Yeah, there it is here. It's on the screen here.
Exactly.
Let me read it. If you guys can't see it, I'm going to read it for us. Okay, AJ. Help with energy costs has been extended for all households, but at a less generous level. So they've gone back on their word. They've gone back on their word here. Okay.
And I told you this would happen. I told you.
The bill for a typical household. Now, get this. This is coming in on November. I mean, I cannot believe this. Today. This was today. The bill for the typical household will rise to £3,000 in April from 2,500 now, the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, announced. Without this help, the average bill would have gone up to 3,740. So, you know, if you're in the UK, and is that a maximum? Is that a cap?
There is a cap, but it doesn't really. This cap doesn't really exist. If you're living in a household with many kids, their electricity bills are almost like over 5,000 or 6,000. So they say there's a cap, but it doesn't really exist.
But I mean, if they say that, so they're not being very clear here. The bill for a typical household, they're not saying
they
it's
say
capped.
typical. Yeah, it's not
in
capped.
April.
It's definitely not capped. People are getting
because
bills.
if it was capped, I would just let it ride.
Yeah.
If it was capped, I would just let it ride. But this
it's definitely not capped, and they're going back on their word. Do you remember when Liz Truss says that we're going to put in 180 billion? People's energy bills are not going to rise. And I said back then, I said, you know what? They haven't counted in the gas prices and stuff. I bet you that budget's going to run out by next April, and they're going to start increasing again. And this is what's happened. So their budget's already gone. They're going back on their word. Now that
Let me
that's going to
read-
increase. Taxes are
let me-
increasing. Sorry, go on.
Let me add to this great story that you found, AJ. Let me add to this, okay? Because I'm going to read it more. Mr. Hunt also announced additional cost of living payments for most vulnerable. He said that that meant an extra £900 for low-income households on means-tested benefits, which is $250 more than the equivalent. Pensioner households will get $300, which is nothing really, and the people on disability will get an extra $150. Okay, support for the people who use heating oil or alternative fuels will double to $200. There will also be an extra $1 billion given to councils to help those who might otherwise fall through the right. If anybody knows how hard and difficult it is to deal with councils about that, this is disgraceful. You know, I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to continue to say this over and over and over again, everyone. China's borders are going to be open. I can feel it. I feel that we're starting to see some relaxing on some of the policies here. I feel March, April, save your money, get a visa, move to China. I'm serious about that. I currently, just to give you guys an example, I'm not in the most glamorous city in China to some people, but I think Chengdu is one of the greatest cities on the planet. But I think it's one of the greatest cities in China as well. But to give you an option here, 2-bedroom apartment, 80, 90 square meters will set you back about $250 to $270 for a brand new, fully furnished apartment. You could probably find apartments as cheap as $100 to $150, which is not squalor. It's very, very good buildings. And then we go to the food, which we haven't seen inflation hit. We haven't seen inflationary costs on electricity. We haven't seen inflationary costs on insurance. We haven't seen them on water. We haven't seen them on restaurant bills. We haven't seen them on hotel bills or travel or air travel. It has not happened. And I think I'm a good test for this. I've been here almost 18 months. And in fact, some of the prices are going down. If you have a good business idea, if you have the means to get out, by all means, if you want to be a teacher, or if you have an expertise that China needs, apply for the job, guys. Get over here and get into this country, because what I am seeing happen, not only to a lot of the viewers, a lot of the other countries, as I'm reading in the headlines, but also members of my own family that are working tirelessly to survive in their countries. We're talking people that are blue collar that can't even hold a mortgage down now. My mother, who lives in central Canada, where her electricity and her gas bill are almost bigger than her actual pension. So I can't say enough, guys. If you want to come to China, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're seeing some relaxing coming in here, where it's gone to 5 days quarantine and 3 days home. Hong Kong has eliminated most of that. So if you can, especially if you're from the UK and they have that relationship over there, if you can get over somewhere in Asia, especially as close to China as possible, the worries will be melting away. Because if you can get a job in this country, or somehow run a business, or even look to retire, do it. Because there's no sense, as I was telling my mother, there's no sense paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to stay warm and to eat. That's AJ, that's, as my brother-in-law says, that's just living.
That's not even human rights.
It's crazy.
Basic human rights. Everybody should be able to have a roof over their heads, should be able to eat, keep warm. That's basic human rights. And, basically, it's going to come a time when no one's going to afford to keep warm. No one's going to afford to eat. No one's going to afford to keep a roof over their heads. It's crazy, Alex. And it's getting worse. It's getting much worse. I also want to talk about the shenanigans that happened in NATO as well.
Yeah, I'll let you cover that. I'll be back I got to be back in 2 minutes. I'll let you cover that now. Okay.
Okay. And I made a video about this, guys, and I just thought, First of all, I want to cover basically Justin Trudeau's and I don't know if many of you have seen the clip, and I wanted to get Alex to show it, but he's gone now. But this clip has basically gone viral, and I just thought it's like a little kid being shouted at by a head teacher, because he definitely got schooled by President Xi, and it was just really hilarious to watch him squirm like that. And at the end of the at the end of the beatdown, Justin Trudeau just didn't know where to look or where to walk, and he's just walking in opposite directions, didn't know where he was going. And I just thought it's really embarrassing for him. And he's just like a big kid, a naughty kid being told off. And absolutely deserved it. Absolutely deserved it. It's just a ridiculous puppet. I'll cover it more when Alex gets here. But let's see if there's any questions from you guys before while we're waiting for Alex to get back. What did you guys think of NATO, the shenanigans that happened there, and Justin Trudeau? I'm just also going through some of the questions, if there's any questions. Don't forget, if you ask any questions, I'll answer it. Yeah, so the issue with Trudeau is he's obviously like a puppet, and there are issues between China and Canada, and it's all down to Trudeau. And when he kept hostage Meng from Huawei, and out of the instructions from the White House, and he's got no backbone in himself, and he's just like a little kid that you can just kind of. The US must be thinking they hit gold when he came in, when he got re-elected, because now you have another puppet government in Canada where the US can pretty much tell them what to do. And I was doing some research on why President Xi was so angry. So basically, what happened was there was a private meeting between them, and when Trudeau came online during a press conference, the only thing he could say was how he was talking down on the Chinese, telling them, talking about human rights, blah 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 this, blah 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 that, human rights this, human rights that, and that's all he was saying. He didn't say anything good about China. All he was saying is just bad stuff. And I think President Xi just lost his temper, because basically he's like, first of all, why are you disclosing that stuff to the press? You're not saying anything good about China. All you're doing is just crapping on us. And I can imagine how President Xi must have felt, because this G20 meeting, he had one meeting after another. All of these G7 members, all of them except Thingy, of course. I'm going to get to that in a bit. Rishi Sunak. But he was just literally surrounded by these G7 guys, and I bet he's seen in firsthand. He's seen in firsthand how bad things are when it comes to the G7 and how anti-Chinese they are. You have to remember, President Xi has not been traveling for years now. He's not seen any of these G7 members apart from Biden, face to face for a long time, if not never. And so this is the first time he's meeting them face to face, and he can probably see the snakes that are involved, all the backstabbing, all of the hate, all of the anti-Chinese bashing that was going on. He must have seen it, hand to hand, face to face in this G20, and he can see the divisions. These G7 members went into the G20. They decided to have their own meetings. They decided to do their own thing. They decided to have their own private stuff, private meetings. They were there to ransack the meeting. They were there on two agendas. One, to get everyone against Russia, embarrass Russia even more, and number two, get everyone against China and embarrass China even more, and also try and get concessions out of China in the same time. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. It's probably the worst G20 I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I mean, in terms of how snaky. This how ridiculous these G7 guys were. Absolute, you know, they ransacked the whole meeting, and President Xi seeing this face to face, I believe, will kind of change a lot of things when he goes back into China. He will basically sit down. He'll have a chat with people that are close by, and I think things will change. There's going to be a lot of things changing, and I think China has pretty much had enough of these G7 members and these snakes, and I think there's going to be a lot of changes happening soon. And I don't think President Xi has realized how bad it is out there, and how bad this anti-Russian, anti-Chinese hate is out there. I don't think he realizes how much of puppets these Westerners are. What are you guys' thoughts, guys? I mean, I think on one hand, I think it was a very much snaky behavior by the G7, but on the other hand, I think it's good that President Xi has seen all of this face to face, and so he has a clearer idea of exactly what's going on around the world and what these G7 members are like, face to face. It's one thing reading up about them and hearing about them, but there's another thing experience it face to face and see what these snakes are like.
Yeah, I think he was definitely outclassed by Xi. We're talking about Trudeau. I mean, wow, what a
Yeah,
disgrace!
yeah,
He got caught.
exactly.
He got caught. His hands were caught in the cookie jar.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I saw the press conference by Trudeau, and all he was doing was China bashing. He didn't say anything good about China. He said, "Yeah, I had a chat with President Xi. I told him about human rights this, human rights that." Not one good thing he said about China. All he was just doing is China bashing. I mean, you don't do
Yeah.
that in the G20. I mean, what the hell are you thinking about? I mean,
And they turned the G20 into a political. It's supposed to be
yeah.
about, or G7 about
Yeah,
finances and stuff.
Yeah,
And
they turned it into a
they turned it
G7
into
meeting. Yeah, they turned it
yeah.
into G7 meeting. They were having their own private G7 meetings. They forgot about all of the other G20 members, and the insult to Bali, insult to I can't remember his name, the leader of Bali. I mean, leader of Indonesia, and Jacob. I can't remember his name, but the insult to him. He's the host, and they're having their own G7 meetings. They were in there trying to put their own agenda in the G7, and it was a split group. You have the G7 versus the rest of the G20. It was a split group, and the G7 will have their own agendas. They were obviously out there to bash Russia, bash China, but at the same time they wanted to get concessions out of China as well at the same time. And the first time that President Xi actually met all of these members face to face, and what an President Xi must be thinking, what a bunch of a-holes. It's not just Trudeau. I mean, yeah, the cameras caught the bit where President Xi had a go at Trudeau, but the camera's not going to follow Xi everywhere, and I'm sure he had a few other words with a few other world leaders privately.
Yeah, I heard it's the translation, and I had some of my Chinese friends listen to that, and they just said it was very, very direct, and it was a scolding, and I mean it's an embarrassment for Canada. As you know, I'm Canadian, and I think we need to be a lot more professional on the world stage, especially when we have a trading partner like China. Let's rewind, maybe what that conversation had a little bit to do with. Got to remember that Canada stupidly detained and dragged Meng Wanzhou from a transfer area in the international airport in Vancouver years ago. She was transferring. Her destination was not Vancouver. She did not leave the plane and go through immigration. That wasn't her main goal. Her goal was to transfer to another plane to head down to Mexico. But the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who coerced with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, got her to step into Canada, where she was arrested. Her computer, her laptop, everything was taken away from her and basically detained. Now, That was an illegal search and seizure for sure. People may disagree with me on that, but sorry, guys, I've read the documents. I even read the Department of Justice disgraceful 24-page charges that they allegedly had on her. A lot of them were conspiracy to this and conspiracy to that. Remember, conspiracy is just maybe what you're potentially thinking of doing, but that's what they kind of held her on. Now, the reason why Xi is a little bit not appreciative of Mr. Trudeau, got to remember it was Canada that took the barking orders from the Americans to detain her. This is all about Huawei. This is all about Huawei.
Yeah.
And this was the teardown of Huawei. And I don't know if the audience here that's watching tonight is familiar that even President Trump didn't even know that this went down. And sitting beside President Trump when it went down, President Xi was at dinner with him. And after the dinner, he called Trump and said, "What the hell? Are you trying to humiliate and embarrass me? We're having dinner together and you arrest one of the most prominent figures in business on an extradition request? Like, are you insane?" And Trudeau tried on many occasions to weasel out of this, even though he had the power to get out of this. In the laws in Canada, he had the power to revoke this extradition request. Didn't do it. So the Chinese got very clever and smart, and they learned the laws of Canada. They went through all our law books, and they educated Prime Minister Trudeau about his laws. And he says, well, I will try to do that. And it was funny, because even the Chinese said, well, technically, you're just the government, Justin. Your true head of state is the queen. So if we need anything, we'll talk to her. It's kind of a way of shaming that little guy. But that's how it started. And the rest is history. And I don't blame, Xi for the way he scolded Trudeau.
Yeah, it's absolutely... it's like watching a school kid being told off by a head teacher, and he really had nothing. He really had nothing to say at that point. He looked so stupid in the world stage. When you're in the G20, you got to be diplomatic, even if you can't get along with someone from a different country, whether it's Putin or from Russia or somewhere else. Diplomacy is all about sitting down, having dinner with them, trying to work out your differences. It's not about, standing up on stage and, bashing China at every opportunity. That's not diplomacy. Diplomacy is working things out, working out trade deals. Even if you don't get along, you don't share values, you still work out trade deals, you still work out positives you can do together, things you can work with together. And you work out the positives, you work out deals, and that's what true diplomacy is all about. It's not about who can stand up the most and bash China the most, and it's become really ridiculous. And even Biden didn't even have the guts to talk about human rights in front of Xi, right? When Biden, if you look at the press details came out in the White House. At no point Biden mentioned that he talked about human rights or anything like that. He was basically Trudeau. So basically, Biden is getting his little puppets to do his dirty work, and even Rishi Sunak even started talking about human rights and stuff. And guess what happened to Rishi Sunak? He got snubbed. He got his meeting got cancelled. Meeting got cancelled by President Xi, and I was laughing my head off. And all of the British papers, people, you can see the British papers. I made a video about this yesterday. British papers are like, oh, Rishi Sunak was extending the hand of friendship, and President Xi slapped it, and it was really ridiculous. How do you expect President Xi to meet you if you're going to stand up on stage and start talking about Taiwan and start talking about how bad China is and what a big threat China is, and then you expect China to have meetings with you? I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And the funny thing is, Alex, Rishi Sunak is the only G7 member that President Xi did not have a meeting with. so the embarrassment, the embarrassment to the president is unbelievable. And why would you expect President Xi to meet you? And the British excuse was, oh, this bomb that fell into Poland was, basically, and look, Alex, things happen around the world every single day, and everyone knows, this is a fake story, this is a false story. Don't use that as a bloody excuse. Do you think it's worth losing a meeting with the world leader, second largest economy in the world and soon to be the largest economy in the world? How often does Rishi Sunak meet President Xi face to face? How often? It's never. Even Boris Johnson never met President Xi face to face. So this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and he's blaming some little missile that fell into a farm. It fell into a farm. We don't even know if anyone got killed. This is what Poland says. I don't even think anyone got killed, to be honest. I haven't seen any bodies or anything like that. It fell in a farm in the middle of nowhere, and basically you have all of these G7 members running around like headless chickens. Oh, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, and they want so badly to drag NATO into this. It's incredible.
Yeah, and according to NATO rules, Alex, if Ukraine fired that missile into Poland, shouldn't Article 5 be triggered against Ukraine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if Ukraine fired that missile, Article 5 should be raised against Ukraine. So then the whole of NATO should just now start attacking Ukraine according to their rules. But because Ukraine did it, NATO is like, oh, don't worry, it's nothing, it's nothing. But if Russia did it, if there was evidence that if Russia did it, NATO would be like, oh, this, we're gonna trigger Article 5. This is war. But because Ukraine did it, like, oh, it's all right, don't worry about it. A couple of people died. Who cares about farmers? Don't worry.
It's incredible. I don't see any end in sight here, and now we are in the winter, and there is a lot of damage going on there. I heard from Patrick Lancaster. He just said the infrastructure is going to take a decade to rebuild on both sides. He just said it's been pummeled. You got to think about, how many people have probably purchased generators, sitting with generators out on their terrace to keep warm. And when these electricity lines go down, they take a lot of stuff down with it. We're not just talking about lights out in people's apartments. We're talking about the sewage facilities get shut down, the water pumping facilities and plants get shut down. Garbage pickup gets shut down. So the pressure, it seems that every time Ukraine is made an advance on whether it's for, to take a city or to take a certain part that was actually held by Russia, they celebrate it. They make a big deal about it. And 2 days later, massive infrastructure gets wiped out by Russia. So I just don't really see an end in sight here for that. I think this is going to be really slowed down into a grind. And at the cost of Europe, at the cost of America, we're talking billions of dollars that have been pumped over into this war. Nice, fancy new equipment, but you can only blow up the ground so many times. And it's been pretty bad. And I just don't know how much longer the appetite of the American taxpayer has for this war. AJ.
Yeah, it's not just American taxpayers. I think the Europeans as well, the British, and especially with this FTX collapse. Now the stupid people who have been sending money to Ukraine have now realized their money has just disappeared.
It's evaporated.
It's evaporated. So all of that went to nothing. Secondly, they don't have enough money left to pay the bills and stuff. I mean, it's a real kick in the teeth. I think Biden is trying to push this bill for 30 to 40 billion for the last few days, and that will be approved because Republicans will never say anything against it because they get some of the money as well. So they all get it, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. They know it's all been funneled through Ukraine. And today's FTX, Alex, but tomorrow they're going to find another
Mhm.
company, crypto company, to exchange this money and to, to kind of you launder all this money. I mean, today was FTX, tomorrow will be another one, and they'll find a
Yeah, yeah.
way.
More
They'll
more
find,
will come. More are gonna
yeah,
come. You better believe it.
exactly. And they're probably not gonna do one. They'll probably do loads. They're not gonna
Mm.
focus on one. They'll probably launder it now through 100 other exchanges rather than just focusing on one FTX, because you're basically spreading the risk, you're spreading the load, and that's what they're gonna do. And if
Yeah,
they and if
yeah,
they approve this
I'm
40 to 50 billion, they know they're going to get this money back anyway. So I think the Congress, the Senate, they're not really worried. They think, oh yeah, we lost some money, but we got another bill coming through, 30 to 40 billion. We'll make money out
mm,
of that. But the Ukrainians are definitely losing because they're not going to see any of that money. The people in Europe are losing. The people who are living in the States are losing, because all that seems to be happening is they're basically, the rich are getting richer. The people who run these countries are getting rich. The military industrial complexes are getting rich. The oil companies are getting richer. And the ordinary citizens and the middle class, the lower income earners, they are just getting poorer and poorer. And it's coming to a point now where you are going to lose everything. If you're a middle class or a poor class, you are going to lose everything. You will own nothing, and you will have to kind of live with that. And basically, the rich will kind of have everything. I mean, you just look at the house prices as well, Alex. I mean, now you have. I don't know if you have this in in Canada, but in UK you have. If people want to buy houses in UK now, because you can't afford it with your salaries, you have to buy something called a share. So if you buy a property with a share of 25%, this means the government or the developer owns 75% and you only own 25%. So when you sell that property, you basically have to give that money back to the developer, because the developer owns 75%. So they have majority stakeholders, they say. And so while you're living in that property, the developer can charge you rent and stuff. So end of the day, you're not the one that's winning. The one that's winning is the developer or the government, who owns 75% of the property. So this is happening more and more. And 10 years ago, this share used to be 50-50, but now it's gone down to 25%. So if you and the missus both put your money down, you will only get 25% share of a property. So even if you are in the property ladder, you're not really on the property ladder, because you still got to pay rent to the developer. You still have to, and even if you sell, you don't make much money back. So this is
mm.
how things are ending up. If you're middle class, if you're poor, you will just end up with nothing, and it's just the rich people who are you're just getting richer every day.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, go on,
watching
sorry.
something yesterday on Vancouver, and they were talking about low income housing in Vancouver. For a 1-bedroom apartment, it was about $2,000 or something like that for low income, and for private owner of it, it's about $4,500 a month. And then they were going on why they can't get low income housing to work there. They show how it was effective, but then they said only less than 5% was low income housing. And then if you aren't, the problem is then if you're in the low income housing and then it's attached to a private owners, there's discrepancies between the private owners, and there's really, people are looking down on those people. It's just a terrible situation to be in. And I don't have that in China. I don't have those issues in China, which are huge issues to most of my family, who are been hardworking, of course, since they were 16. I think they started working, most of them. My sisters, I have 3 of them, trying to get my mom here in Asia as soon as possible. But I don't have this issue here with being concerned about rent, because I can scale up or scale down. It's still affordable both ways. I mean, but if somebody new was thinking about coming to China, what advice I can give to them is definitely, of course, finish your education, but find a market that maybe you can help. If it's in business, if it's in I don't know, teaching. There's many occupations, of course. If it's you're a pilot, I know that a lot of the Chinese airlines, some of them had cutbacks, but some of them were definitely not as bad as what Emirates did to their pilots in Dubai. I know firsthand from a few friends that lived in Dubai. Basically, they said take a massive hit, and basically, if your kids are in school, well, maybe they won't be next semester, so that's it. And they end up, laying off a bunch of their staff. You can see those videos all over YouTube about disgruntled employees. But if it comes to planning the future in 2023, we know the world is going into a very serious downturn economically here. Even the Fed, in their language, can you imagine this? The Fed in the United States is saying, we want the economy to slow down, AJ. That was the exact words on some of the people that were on there. The economy's running a bit hot. We want it to slow down. So how do they slow it down? They hammer the people that are trying to get by. And as you say, AJ, the elites succeed, and the blue collar or even the people that are just trying to survive get smoked. And what happens is they hit them with mortgage payments. I mean, I've just a few friends have their reset. You imagine 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you could borrow money for next to nothing. Now, 7, 8, 9% to take out a mortgage. Throw another 5, 10 years on that mortgage payment. It's hitting hard. And that's why I continue to say, if it's possible for the viewers, if it's anyone out there, send me an email. If you want me to look around to do whatever I can, I say, if you can, if you have an in to China, whether it's a job or a job opportunity or a business opportunity, start writing some friends or whoever you can, get into China, because this, to me, is the place where I want to be, because I don't think 2023 is going to be rosy at all. We're going to start to see the real pain come out in especially the electricity thing. They haven't, I don't think Germany's found a long-term solution for, two of its major pipelines being taken off. Don't you think, AJ? How's 2023 going to look? What's your thoughts on that?
I think 2023 is going to be much worse than what we have here. I mean, Europe can probably last this winter because they have been obviously saving a lot since the start of the year. However, most of these reserves are going to run out by next year, and they haven't got anything to replace it with. They haven't got any long-term, deals with anyone. They have LNG, which is between 4 and 10 times more expensive. And don't forget, these LNG costs are rising every single day. And don't forget, China is also in lockdown. When China is fully opened up and they fully open up their borders, that's when China's industry is going to be in full steam. And the oil prices and the gas prices are going to shoot up again. They're going to even double or triple. And this is when the pain in Europe is going to be felt, when these oil prices, gas prices start shooting up. And Biden is also his reserves in the United States is running out as well, so he can't use that to kind of lower the oil prices. Then you have the Saudis or OPEC Plus reducing oil output, and that's going to bring up prices even more. So there's going to be definitely more pain next year. I think there's going to be a huge recession happening all over the world, except China. I think China is going to avoid the recession, while the rest of the world is going to go through a severe recession, especially Europe. Europe will contract, I would probably say 10%. Over next year. Germany is going to lose. Yeah, Germany is going to lose the whole industry is going to be gone. They're either going to be moving to United States or they're either going to be moving to China. So there's going to be a huge contraction of Europe's GDP, because Europe is Germany basically. Europe is if Germany loses its industry, the whole of Europe will lose its industry. Britain is pretty much gone. I think there's no hope for Britain. I think Britain will probably collapse faster than Germany because the economic figures have shown that actually UK is doing worse than the rest of Europe. And people who have been shouting for Brexit, this is the worst time to be having a Brexit during these economic times. You know, this is the time when you need trade links to be opened up with your neighbors, with the whole world. And what has Britain done? They've closed all of their trade links with Europe, their closest neighbors, and they've also alienated China, Russia, half the globe. They've alienated the Middle East, they've alienated Africa, they've alienated pretty much, you know, America is even America has said that they're not going to do any trade deals with United Kingdom. So United Kingdom is pretty much finished. And people in the United Kingdom are living in cloud cuckoo land, Alex. I think it's going to take until, you know, I mean, when I go out and talk to people, people have no idea what's going on around them. People have no clue that, you know, when you tell them about inflation, when you tell them about the cost of living, they have no clue why it's like this. They seem to just sit there and accept it. They think, oh, yeah, we have the cost of living crisis. But when you ask them, do you know why? They have no clue why. They have no idea what's going on. So, you know, it's absolutely crazy. And businesses are shutting down. And you know what, Alex, my area is absolutely filthy. It looks like these bin men have not been cleaning the streets for months. And I'm going to go around today and take in like videos of my own area, and I'm going to post it in the video probably tomorrow or the day after. The whole area is just absolutely filthy. There's businesses being shut down left, right, and center everywhere. There's more and more homeless people. I'm walking around, I'm seeing more homeless people than I've ever seen in my whole life in my own area. Now, I live in quite a okay area. It's not that rich, or it's not that poor, but there was never any homeless people when I was growing up, or, you know, even like last year, even I don't remember seeing any homeless. But now you see them everywhere. You see, businesses being shut down, and it's just going to get worse, Alex. It's just, things are going really, really bad. And I have been trying to take money out of a bank because I have, you know, a few savings, and I've got stocks and shares and ISAs in British banking institutes. I've been trying to take my money out of these banks for 2 months now, and they are not giving it to me. They keep coming up with these excuses like, oh, due to money laundering, you have to do this, you have to do that. I have to prove my ID. And the only way they said I can prove my ID is if I go to solicitor, pay these solicitors £300. And what they do is they verify me, they sign some documents, and then I have to send that back to the bank. So I basically went and did that. And now the bank is saying, oh, this is not a document we're looking for. We're looking for this. We're looking for that. We need this document. We need that document. They just, you know, they're just making excuses. You know, I feel like, you know, they're making every excuse out of the book, and they're doing it to other people. I'm asking around other friends as well, and they have the same problem. Trying to get money out the bank has become impossible. You know, and the longer they keep the money in the bank, the better it is for the bank. But it's worse it is for you as a person. So, like, you know, it's easy to put money into a bank, but to get it out, you can forget it. And they're already now stopping people from taking out the money. Obviously, I'm doing everything I can to get it out. And if I don't get it out, I'm gonna have to kind of. Luckily, it's not crypto market. There are, you know, these banks do have to follow certain guidelines. You know, there's certain companies you can contact. Say, look, this bank has taken my money. It's not giving it back. So I can contact them.
You know, it's interesting, AJ. I see a lot of people. Sometimes they're, of course, you have some issues in each country in bank runs, but there was a funny thing that was going around some of the Western media talking about, you know, the Chinese on bank runs. Anybody that says that Chinese do bank runs, that's kind of hilarious. I actually haven't seen RMB cash in about 18 months because nobody uses cash here.
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody wants to do a bank run here, they just got to pull out their phone and take the funds out of their one app and put them into another app. I mean, that's I guess you could call it a virtual bank run, but the people just don't go into banks and, try to drain, tons of money out of the banks. It's interesting. Christian's got a point here. He says the impact of Brexit hasn't hit yet. You better believe it hasn't hit yet. And when it hits, it's going to be hit hard. Tammy's got an interesting comment. Look at what they did to Graham Phillips. Tammy, I don't know if you're aware that, yes, Graham, well, you are aware that Graham was sanctioned by his own country. Those are my fears with Patrick Lancaster as well. I've been friends with Patrick Lancaster for quite a few years now, and we have talks once in a while. And I told Patrick, maybe when you're done there in Russia, maybe it's time that we meet up here in China. And he thinks that's a good strategy. God bless you, Patrick, if you're watching tonight. Stay safe. His last videos are really, really, you can just hear the missiles and bombs wheeling over his head. It's quite disturbing.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, somebody mentioned obviously Graham Phillips, but this guy, he's lost his property, because when you get sanctioned in UK, you lose your property because you don't have any, you don't have any access to any assets because the government takes it all. So he lost all his bank accounts. He's lost all his property. He had like 2 properties. He lost them. Any, bank accounts, assets he had, it's all been seized by the government. So he's basically got nothing in UK whatsoever. And this is something I'm also scared of as well, because if the government decides to sanction me one day, I could, same thing could happen to me. So this is one of the reasons I'm probably looking to leave UK, because I think if you're in UK and you are political and the government do not agree with your political views, then you're going to be a target, and they will find ways to shut you down. And trust me, they're already doing that. I might not be a big fish right now, but I could be in like 6 months or a year. If my subscriber count goes up over, say, it becomes between 30 to 40,000, I might be on the target of the government. Because right now I'm under 30, so I would say, I'm not target yet. But if it obviously goes above 100K, then obviously I will be a target. But I just got to be really, really careful what I say. And that's why if you want to be political, you cannot live in this country. And this is why you have most of the guys who are political, you'll find a lot of them don't live in UK. They live in, other places. Like Earl Grey lives in, Russia. You have
St. Petersburg, yeah.
St. Petersburg, and you have, Gonzalo Lira living in Ukraine, but he's not living in the West. If he was living in the West, he would have been shut down by now. You have, obviously Alex Christoforou, who lives in Cyprus and Greece, and if you're living in UK and you are political, you are basically going to be a target. You are going to be a target. So you have to be really, really careful, basically. But I think once I'm abroad and stuff, then I can pretty much be safe. A lot of Chinese YouTubers like the Barretts, for example, they are in China. Recently Barrett starts becoming more political as well. But if he was living in UK, he would definitely be a target. But he's living in China. He can say what he wants.
Well, he actually left here a few months back, but he's currently he's currently in Southeast Asia now.
Oh, okay.
Lee and Ollie has been traveling around the Philippines. Sure. He went home for a while, and now I believe he's going to be touring around. Latest, he's been in Thailand, and he'll be touring around this area, I think, for a while. And then I think the father is going to be coming back to China. The son will continue on. I think maybe even Ollie might be going down to South America to do some travels. But yeah.
I mean, even if you're in China, you're still not safe from the BBC. I mean, how many newspaper articles were they featured? Like, I think they were featured in at least 3 articles around the world.
Yeah, BBC, the Times. The
Times. New York Times, Washington Times, about these YouTubers who are in China.
Yeah, well, that's all part of the Yeah, that's all part of the 300 million anti-China. I mean, we all had it. I had Reuters. Reuters was all over me for doing a video about Ocean Flower Island in Henan. It was a development by Evergrande. They phoned me up and said, "Nice video. Were you paid to do it?"
Really? Wow.
And I said, "Yeah, I've got the. Let me read the email. One sec. Let me just pull up that email." And I basically responded to the lady saying, no, but if you are interested in me making videos, basically kind of belittling her because I knew she was on for a hit job. Let me just see. I'm just going to pull this email up. Yeah, she was she was very aggressive, and because they were trying to write up a report on, I believe it was Evergrande, and that's what they were trying to do. So,
have you noticed
yeah.
the whole world has shut up about Evergrande now?
Yeah, of
6
course.
months,
Mhm.
6 months ago, a year ago, they were saying, "Oh, Evergrande's going to bring down the Chinese economy. Evergrande's going to collapse. This is the end of China. Evergrande's going to pull them down." And suddenly, 1 year later, everyone's quiet, not even mentioning anything. And you
Yeah,
know what? If you look at the figures, right, Evergrande is actually starting to make a profit again in China. Most of the work has restarted again, and also the Chinese government is also helping Evergrande as well. I think they're also going to be helping out on a number of projects. And also the owner, he was forced to sell all of his assets as well. So China's doing everything they can, and it's not going to collapse when people that say it's going to, Evergrande's going to bring down the Chinese economy. They have no idea what they're talking about. They literally any story to bash China, they will just jump on it without knowing how China works and knowing any details. And now the whole world is completely shut up about Evergrande. And this is like a whole year ago. Evergrande was
Yeah.
one story.
Well, I got this email sent to me on the 4th of January last year, and these are people that are out to do hit pieces on guys like me. Here's how it started. "Hey, Alex, I came across the video you did on Ocean Flower Island when doing research about it. Well done. It is fascinating. I am a reporter covering China's financial markets, and I've been following Evergrande for a while. I'm curious, what was the trigger for that very nice video? Was it sponsored by Ocean Flower Island? Happy to chat with you when you're free." Interesting. I responded to her, and then she said, well, at first I didn't respond. She says, "Hi, Alex. Not sure if my first email was received by you. Happy New Year. And please do let me know if you might be free for a chat." I did respond to her, and it was pretty interesting. Just want to see if I can. Yeah, and then she even sent me something about the story that she was publishing. Oh, yeah, I responded to her. I remember this, and here's what I said. "Dear blank, thank you very much for contacting us regarding our video project on Ocean Flower Island. We worked very hard on that video, and so glad you appreciated it. Please note, in the description below, we clearly stated that the funding of our video was our very own. Quote from the video description for your inquiry. Statement: all of our videos are funded by ourselves. We make videos based on footage we can fly or license. No monetary payments were made to make this video. We enjoy China's infrastructure, and that is the sole purpose of why we make these styles of videos. Here's some other videos of other islands that were made of the islands by other content creators. Thank you again." Her response: "Thank you for getting back to me. It was indeed great work by you. We published a story about the Ocean Flower Island last week. So you know, unfortunately, we didn't manage to add you to our document." Yeah. So yes, we do get our fair share of media coming down on us, and we get it all the time. I mean, I would say for every 100 positive comments, we'll either get one really, really negative, just people that are just hating China. What can you do about it, right?
Yeah, I was doing some my own research about Flower Island as well, and Hainan in particular, and people don't understand how fast and how far Hainan's GDP has been going up over the past 5 years or so, because what China did, they put Hainan as a free trade port. So it's one of the free trade areas, and there's a lot of businesses going up. They've recently built this amazing shopping center. It's one of the largest in China, in Hainan, selling all sorts of expensive items. People
Yeah, it's
go
a
to
duty
Hainan.
free. It's
Duty
one of the
free,
largest
yeah.
in the world. Yeah.
And people from all over the world now go into Hainan as a tropical island. They go there for duty-free shopping, and it's become the shopping center for all of China. People travel from all over China to go to Hainan to buy, duty-free items in that shopping center. And it just recently opened. And if you look at the house prices of, Hainan in particular, house prices have more than, this is one area which is still shooting up in price. It's catching up with the rest of China. Before 5 years ago, Hainan properties was still very, very low compared to the rest of China, because it's still an island. It wasn't really integrated with the rest of China. But now, since this free trade port has started happening, property prices are going through the roof. So this investment, this Ocean Flower Island that Evergrande did, is basically a gold mine. This is increasing in price every single day. They keep this, and they haven't lost it. They still own most of this, and Evergrande has been selling off a lot of their assets in other cities. But one assets they have not sold is everything they're doing in Hainan, because they know Hainan is still a gold mine for them. They are looking at a huge gold mine. Hainan. They're talking about Hainan being the next Dubai. There's a lot of that website I showed you, Alex, Citao.
Yeah, very nice website.
Yeah, there's one particular section about Hainan, and it tells you about all of the construction that's going on in Hainan. They're basically spending trillions in Hainan, and they and one of the major planning, they're majorly planning a tunnel going from China all the way to Hainan over the next. This is already in planning stage, and this is going to be happening. They're going to start construction within the next 5, or maybe even early even. So they're doing the pre-planning stage at the moment. So once this tunnel links up to China, it's going to be an underwater tunnel. It's going to be the largest underwater tunnel ever made, and once that tunnel is made, then Hainan as a province will, be like the next Dubai. Everyone's going to be going to Hainan, because Hainan is beautiful, right? It's got amazing beaches. It's got amazing climate. It's summer 11 months a year over there. It's got amazing climate. It's like a tropical paradise. You got nice beaches, palm trees, and it's a great place for holiday. And now with the Chinese infrastructure, it's going to be a very, very great place for tourists to go there and enjoy themselves. Obviously, there's still a long way to go with this infrastructure, but they're building this road that goes along the coast of Hainan, and it looks amazing. This is like one of the best infrastructure projects I've seen. It's literally a road that goes all the way around Hainan coast. So you can hire a car and just drive along the coast if you wanted to.
Yeah, I did this video last year. This is the one where the Reuters reporter thought I did it. I think she actually thought that Evergrande paid me to make this video. Maybe Evergrande should have made me, but yeah, no, I made this video last year. It does
you
have
can see
some.
how many projects are going on in Hainan. This literally is Hainan is one of the most busiest place in terms of construction. There's so much money going into Hainan.
And Sanya as well. And
Sanya, yeah, Sanya is the tropical island, which is which has got the best beaches. This is where everyone goes to. And I showed those pictures. I showed that video to my wife, Alex, and she loved it. She was like,
really?
That's the video which completely changed her mind about China. So basically, she doesn't know much about China. So I actually, so I picked up one of your videos and I thought to myself, which video of yours shall I show her to kind of change her mind? So I showed her your Sanya video with the
Let's
Flower
see.
Island, and that completely, changed her mind. She was like, "Yeah, you're right. When we're going to China, let's go tomorrow." Completely changed her mind. So that video was great in terms of persuading the missus to come with me to China, and she loves it because she loves the weather, obviously. So she loves
Is this
the
is the
weather,
duty free you're
beaches.
talking about here, right? This is the
Yeah,
duty free. Let's see if we can pull it up.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
give me a
it
sec.
recently opened. We're talking about a month ago. It opened these doors. It literally finished construction. A
Yeah.
very, very brand new, one of the biggest shopping centers in in China. I'm talking about whole of mainland.
Yeah, this video, I produced this video
That's the road. Yeah,
before
that's the. Oh, did you see that road that goes
No.
in the coast? Yeah, just missed it like a few minutes ago.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me where I get my photography from, and a lot of my drone stuff. Over the last few years, I've invested a lot of money in purchasing, hiring people to fly with me, as well as flying myself. I've purchased a few drones that are quite expensive. And then if there's cities that I can't get to, I then map them out first, and then I hire local experts to fly for me. Because, for example, this one here, I needed certain shots done. Of course, I couldn't get down there, but I tailor how I want these video shots, the angles, how they're shot.
I mean, look at the beaches, Alex. Looks
Yeah,
amazing.
they're beautiful.
You got white. White sand. We're talking about. We're not even talking about pebbled beaches or dirty beaches you have in UK. This is white sand. This climate is 11 months a year. It's sun.
Yeah, this video here, just so you know, it took about 45 gigabytes of aerial to make it, and then to collect all that footage. There's certain shots that I needed and certain days that they needed to be done. So I have a team of people that I work with that help me out. And then, of course, in cities like Shanghai, where I've been to a few times, and other cities, Shanghai is one of the most uncomfortable cities to fly a drone. I don't feel comfortable flying there.
Yeah.
So what I do is I hire a local to fly. And I'll give you an example. On one of my videos, the drone lifts off on the Bund area, and it flies right across. And then the building that's called the bottle cap opener, the bottle opener building. We flew a drone right in the middle of that, and that is
That's
2
the shopping
kilometers
center.
away.
Yeah. This is the shopping center. Yeah.
So some of the
I mean,
shots I don't risk myself doing, but a lot of the stuff you see in Chongqing, I take myself. A lot of the stuff on the very dangerous highways and windy roads and
wow,
stuff
look how
like that,
amazing that
I
looks, that
take.
shopping
It's
center.
beautiful,
Look
isn't it?
It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, look how big it is. Huge. I mean, I showed this video to my missus, and she was definitely convinced. I only picked this video to kind of persuade her, Alex, to kind of because she hasn't got time to watch every single video about China. I got to pick one to kind of completely sell her about coming to China with me, and this was it. And she was like, "Wow, okay, I'm catching the next flight with you."
It's interesting how you remember these buildings. You got quite a photographic memory for these buildings, AJ. You're pretty good at it.
Yeah, Alex, don't start about buildings. I mean, everybody knows my history with buildings, architecture, civil engineering. I know, I know so much. I have so much, photographic memory about buildings in not only in UK but throughout the world. I always kind of follow what's happening with all of these major mega projects and projects. And when I was young, I used to walk around with a camera, taking pictures of unusual buildings and architecture. And I used to do that when I was traveling as well. And not only just take pictures, I used to kind of take the time to research about it, and how they built it, what kind of design, how they designed it, how, what construction materials they've used, and I like to go into all of those details. And I have a lot of knowledge about the construction industry. And that's one thing I can pretty much go on forever. If I didn't have a geopolitics channel, I would definitely have some sort of architecture channel or like some sort of. I don't know if anyone follows B1M, which is like a.
Yeah, they're
channel.
good. I mean, do you know that B1M has a huge team of people? That guy.
Yeah,
Huge team of people. I saw on Twitter he has over 20 to 25 people. That help his channel. I mean, that's
it's a great channel. I love that channel.
It's a beautiful channel. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that channel. It's one of the few channels.
So
I actually
back
like
to the discussion here on crypto. Is there a way out of this mess, or are we going to see contagion? Is this going to continue? Is it open? Is it going to go on until the last trading firm goes under?
No, Alex. I think this is the end of crypto. I think this was the last straw. People are taking their money out of crypto like nobody's business now. I think people have lost all hope and
it's a pretty scary landscape out there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
very scary landscape.
Everybody I know in Britain. I mean, I have a lot of friends in UK who are in crypto, invested in crypto. Everyone I've been speaking to over the past few weeks, they're all taking their money out of crypto. They said, you know what, screw this. I'm getting my money out, of crypto, and it's happening all over the world. I think people have just lost confidence in crypto. I don't think crypto will come back, and the fact that to mine crypto, to mine Bitcoin is very, very expensive. You cannot mine it anymore because with the whole world going along with this green agenda thing, they look at things that take up extra energy, and it takes a lot of energy to mine crypto stuff. And I think we're coming to the end of mining crypto, and once we come to the end of that, and now you've seen so much fraudulent activity going on, people losing money, people people have lost complete confidence, and I just do not think it's ever going to come back. And I've seen videos over the past few days where people are saying that it could eventually go down to zero very soon, and that would be it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it about the crypto. I get it about Bitcoin. I get it. And how people, I've had so many people say, "Oh, you don't understand." I understand what people are talking about. Wanting to have this coin and wanting to own it and keeping it on a personal ledger. I get all that, guys. I get it. I understand. The issue is that the scammers came in, and like that guy that was talking earlier on in the program, there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else. And that everything else has really, really knocked the confidence. Can you imagine talking about crypto right now and trying to get somebody new into it? Their recruiters, whether they're the influencers or the Tom Brady's of the world, it's crazy. This is I own 50 Bitcoins in early days and sell as it goes up. Yeah, that's good. The issue is it's not about that coin, Bitcoin in general. It's about the platforms that you're selling it on. If you go and you sell it and you get caught, just happen to get caught that day of selling it, then you've got big problems. You can't get your money out. So it's really the bad eggs are the exchanges. And I can't even believe they have the audacity to call themselves exchanges, because they're not.
They're money laundering tools.
Yeah.
And like our friend Frank has said, if you want to invest in something, invest in physical things like gold and silver. I mean, you don't need to have gold and silver in your properties. There's companies out there who will store it for you and save it for you in these secure deposit boxes and in secure units that are not related to banks. These are you're talking about mini Fort Knoxes that can be secured. Or there's many ways you can kind of invest in gold and silver. You don't need physical gold and silver. You need to carry with you. I mean, there's many ways you can do it, and or you can just invest in stocks and shares in gold and silver. I mean, that will never collapse. That will always that will always stay. That will never ever collapse.
I really think Meta and their goals for this crazy virtual world that they have, the metaverse, this crypto is really going to affect that, because this was built on the backs of, this all virtual everything, the virtual purchase. I mean, the Meta was
Yeah.
really surrounded around this stuff, and I know you brought it to my attention.
Yep.
That is another, Meta is in trouble if you think about it. That's a big ship to slow
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
And I mean, he risked his company, he renamed his company after something that is just, I'll with you, it's a joke. If that's what you get for $18 billion of software development and platform development, sorry. And you're right. I mean, that thing had a $353 peak in the 52 weeks, and it hit its low, I think, about $88 a week or so ago. Cutting staff, people are being laid off. I mean, this crypto thing will continue to, hurt that industry. That was a huge money-making industry for people in the developing of software and coding and all that. I mean, it's just, watch it. Here's the issue. No crypto firm is going to be able to get venture capital funding for a very, very, very long time. Doesn't matter if you go in there and say we invented this. They're just gonna say, it's okay. We lost our shirt, and that's the problem. That's going to be the big problem here. It's the credibility for it, and you can't blame AJ. They can't blame regulators. You can't blame the regulators. This isn't the regulators' problem. You can't say, oh well, where's the SEC? Well, what can the SEC do? Where's the Department of Justice? Okay, well, guess what, guys? When you signed that KYC form, know your client form, to the alleged bank, hopefully they didn't call themselves the bank, the crypto place, you were signing a document. Many people don't read these documents. You know that, AJ, right? You know, these 20, 30 page documents. They just click the little box. They put their address in. You've shipped your money offshore. You've shipped it to, who knows? It could be a call center somewhere in the world. I mean, that's the issue here. And the only one, Coinbase, I believe, is the only one regulated. And you could see they're getting smoked too on the exchange here. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that, if you thought cryptocurrency was unsafe and unregulated, if you put any of that money into Facebook, into Meta, imagine how bad that would be. Because you've seen how many people Facebook ban every single day due to their political views, and same with other social media companies. If they ban you, that's it. That's everything's gone. All of your money that's invested in Meta, all the properties you bought in Meta, everything that you had, everything you spent can be easily controlled by Facebook and banned, and that's it. You could, if you're stupid enough to put a lot of your money and invest a lot of money into Facebook, and then suddenly you're in this virtual world and say something stupid like, "Oh, I support Russia." That's it. You could be banned. You could be, that's it. Facebook will take all of that away from you and sanction you. Sanction you. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's a scary thing. You're giving all of that power to these tech companies, all of your money, all of your time, your investments. It's all controlled in this virtual world by these tech companies. I mean, tech companies right now are controlling people as we speak, with their social media. And now they want to control not only what you say, but your assets, your money, your life. It's just not going to work. I don't think people are that stupid to fall for it, Alex. I think majority of people have kind of realized this Meta is all BS because,
Yeah, we say that, but I mean, what I'm concerned about again is we keep saying that everybody, they can identify it, but 1.5 million people just got wiped out on an exchange.
Yeah,
A million people the week
you will.
before that.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, when I say majority, I probably meant minority of people that are probably wise enough. The people that listen to our channels and stuff like that, free thinkers. but majority of people are sheep, you know, Alex, and unfortunately, they're sheep. They're easily controlled. They believe anything
Mm.
that the government say. And yeah, you're right. I think majority of people are like that. They are like sheep. There's only a few free thinkers in this world, very small percentage.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, AG, I'm going to let you say goodbye to the audience here. You take your time. We'll wind up the music a bit and take as long as you need. And everybody, we're not going to cancel the stream right away. We'll leave the chat and comment box open so you guys can talk amongst yourself. It's been a great pleasure for me to be here again with HA. My name is Alex. I have a channel, Reportify Media, and I'm also on the iChungChing platform. So hopefully you guys can subscribe to our channel as well, because we do a lot of these live streams during the week. And of course, we'll be doing the big Let's Talk China here soon as we're able to do that as well. So yes, peace to everybody. Hopefully you guys stay safe. And boy, oh boy, read that small print before you send your money anywhere, and protect your investments. Do what you can. Do your due diligence. And I'm going to put you in the safe hands of AJ and enjoy the music and the outro here. Take it away, AJ. Thanks again. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're welcome.
everyone. Thanks, all the moderators who are here. Thanks, everyone who's been listening to us. And, you know, we really appreciate your support and your time you have put into this. And I really appreciate your loyalty, because a lot of you I recognize the names, are very much regulars. So I really want to personally thank you from a personal level. And each and every one of you, if I ever meet you in person or you're in the same town as me, you're welcome to just message me, and I'll happily sit and take you out for a drink or a meal. You know, I'll happily do that. I really appreciate the loyalty you guys have given me, and I want to repay that. And yeah, thanks to Alex. Thanks to you know, I've said all my moderators, but yeah, thanks to everyone. We'll see you soon. Hopefully, we'll see you next week, and keep a lookout for my